Yeah.
Great. It's good to know. I'm glad I checked that before we went live. No, we probably are live already, so we should be anyway.
Hurry.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, no, it's because I loaded up the live stream on the screen. So
yeah, but then I say yeah, and it just then bounced back at me.
Oh, okay. Don't know about that. Cool. I might, given that I have a better internet connection now, I might try and run it on my screen rather than on a tablet. Maybe. We'll see how we go. Can't find a good place to put it though. Yes, we're actually here, Carl. Yeah, let's actually cover up the live stream. I don't actually need to see that. All I need to see is the chat.
Yeah. Don't need to see ourselves.
Yeah, I see enough of ourselves.
The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. Hello, third party.
Hi. The third party is currently just us.
We are the third party.
Right. Let's just make sure it is live on YouTube. It should be.
It is live on YouTube.
No, I don't want to resubscribe to YouTube Premium. I should have never done that free trial.
I actually have Premium.
I did a free trial. I did a free trial for 3 months. I hated it, and then I cancelled it after a month and a half.
No, really?
Like but Emily has it, which is fine because she uses it like for ASMR and stuff. So that's fine. But yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we get this?
Let's do this shit.
Yeah, I can't see how many people.
I love that I can swear. Not that it stopped me yesterday.
Oh, you were. We'll talk about that in the show, but yeah, you were.
I was on a different planet as well, which didn't help.
No, you were just you were on your best behavior.
Oh, it's so hard. And then I'm trying to think of clever answers that make sense. And I'm like, this isn't me.
I put on the Grid Talk host chat that you were on your best behavior and you only dropped the S-bomb once, and I'm like, once? Wow, he really wasn't his best behavior. Right, okay. Let me just start recording because I remember to do that.
People must see me in some weird way. Where did you? Max
Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win. That was absolutely brilliant. Oh, Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh, no, it was so not right. Unbelievable stuff. And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. And at the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin Magnussen, and there's a second contact.
We're actually doing a podcast.
I know, it's a shock.
It's only been 4 races.
And we've seen each other in person.
4 races and 3 winners from the beer coasters that I'm currently holding up. Sainz, Verstappen, Russell, and Verstappen again all have won a race since our last podcast. And Lando Norris has not, which means, yes, the last race review we did was post-Austin. So since then, we've had Sainz, Verstappen, Russell, Verstappen. You notice Lando Norris has not won a race in that time, which means he is no longer in the championship fight. So if you're living under a rock... Tom. If you're living under a rock and you only
live under a rock and you only listen to us,
if you only listen to the Monkeyseat to get your F1 content, then sorry, the championship is done.
Good fucking luck,
because we've been too lazy to do a podcast.
I mean, I've even seen you in person.
Yeah, Carl alluded to it. We have seen each other in person, and we met up in we had a lovely Mexican in London, and we were enjoying a good Mexican, unlike Red Bull. I've used that joke far too many times, but yeah, it was good. Although much like Perez, it was a bit painful on the way out. It took a lot longer than it should have done. Yep, and yeah. I was sitting in the toilet, but oh shit, and all that Checo right now. Anyway, great.
I didn't know that.
Great content. Hello, Owain. Hello, Owain in the chat.
Hello.
You enter on a lovely shit joke. So
yeah.
Yes, cool. 4 races. I think we'll.
I mean, please don't tell me we're going to try and review any of those because I literally can't remember past yesterday.
Yeah, I've got the stat. I've got the final standings.
I can't even remember. What races were they? Hang on.
So we had Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, and Qatar. So you had. I can't even remember what happened in Mexico. Let's see. Sainz, Norris, Leclerc. Sainz won. How did Sainz win in Mexico? I can't remember that. Hamilton 4th, beating Russell on track. Okay. Where was Verstappen? 6th. Don't remember that at all.
No.
Checo retired, didn't he? Or he was a lap down in last.
In his
Brazil, I mean, people are gonna be spunking over Brazil for years. So, that's.
Was that the Ocon one?
The
Ocon and Gasly one that came 2-3.
Yeah, that was it. That was Brazil.
Yeah.
And then we had Vegas. The Mercedes 1-2 with Hamilton, proving that he's still got it. And then Qatar, Hamilton proving that he's over. He's past it.
He's well
so
over.
We literally had Mexico, Hamilton on pace, better than Russell. Brazil, Hamilton nowhere. Vegas, Hamilton better than Russell, apart from the fact that Russell was ahead of him on track. Then Qatar, where the hell was he?
So on that flip-flop idea, he should be really good in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, he should be, but he won't be.
Yeah,
because it's his last race, so
he might. I'm about 3 miles away from the camera. I'm sorry. You're currently on a windowsill, and I'm currently in my digs in Dublin. So I am a bit. So if I'm bouncing back and forwards, I'm bouncing on my bed. I'm literally sat on my bed. So you join me in bed, Tom. Which isn't the first time.
Not the first time, no. Wayne, just to address your comment in the chat there, we could have done in-person pod. I did think about it, but genuinely, I had seen Carl a long time. We had about 3 hours, and that was it. And it's like, why use an hour and a half of that to talk about F1 when we could just catch up on other stuff? So, and plus,
we did talk about F1 for a bit, though.
We did, but
it was the first time we've seen each other in.
When was the last time I saw you in person? Was it my wedding?
Did we Legoland? Were you married?
Yes, I went with you to Legoland, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. No, that was like last year. It's still over a year since I've seen you in person. So yeah.
And it was 3 hours that we got together. But
yeah, it was good, and it was only interrupted about 10 times by video calls from your children, but that's fine because they're super cute.
Yeah, but
my son,
it's just. Yeah,
it's not video.
You haven't got.
Well, I say that, but I'm currently on a video call with my son as I hold up my baby monitor of him asleep in the cot because I'm on babysitting duties and he is asleep. So this podcast might be massively derailed because I have to go and deal with him. But he's a really good sleeper, so I'm sure he will be fine. Cool. So I think we'll probably mostly focus on Qatar today.
We will because at least I can slightly remember that.
All we can remember. I mean, we can talk about the fact that Lando Norris won the sprint and Oscar Piastri won the sprint in Brazil because they just kept doing switcheroos.
Yes.
That was apparently. I haven't heard the radio, but apparently the team were telling him not to do it. Yeah. I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, they definitely were. They were like, we're happy with this position. We're happy. Get it, bring it home. We're happy. And then he just ignores them and just lets Piastri through, which is fair enough. But it did. I don't know. Like it doesn't make any difference to anything. Yeah. So, I mean,
it shows how much they care about the sprints, though, doesn't it?
I think their thought was it was a risk to
McLaren,
Norris to come third.
It was definitely a possibility. Why risk that when you got when the Constructors' Championship was so close like that? Yeah. So it was a risk to do it, but he did
I think
it
where he did it at the very end and. They crossed the line almost together. I think they were literally a nose in it.
Yeah.
I think that's what was that was fine. But
it's amazing how this has changed from, I know this is a long time ago, but back to Austria 2002 when Schumacher and Barrichello did it.
I can't remember the last 3 races.
Yeah, but it's still talked about now how Schumacher, how Barrichello had to back off to let Schumacher past, and it was only like race 4 in the season or something, and and it was still that was basically what led to always stirring. That's what led to like the team orders ban at the time. I'm just slightly distracted as he looks
But
wide
then
awake at the moment.
the team orders is going to be like. But I've got a number of issues and things that I will try and talk about. Team orders, I don't really care about. It is a team sport in the same way you have team orders in football. It's a team sport. Like, let's get over this idea that the drivers are individuals. They are just players on the pitch, almost. So I don't feel like that. I don't mind team sports to the team tactics at all. At all. Like I can imagine that it makes sense, and yeah, it's not like the drivers. Do the drivers get anything financially for
Yeah,
becoming
yeah.
1-2 from the FIA?
Yeah, well, there's prize money, isn't there? Depending on where you finish in the race, and obviously where you finish
For
in the
the
season overall.
drivers.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was only to the teams.
Well, it might be. To be fair, it might be what the teams do.
That's why I don't
I'm not
think
sure.
they
Actually, do you know what?
get
I'm not entirely
any.
sure.
I don't think they
There
get any
must be.
cash wins.
I know the prize money is done on constructors, but there must be some payments per race. They can't just go the whole season with no payment. Surely there must be something.
No,
That goes
well,
to
I
the
think
drivers.
they probably, well, they might get payments, but the team gets payments throughout for winning races.
Yeah, you're
The
probably
actual
right. Actually.
drivers, I don't think that the drivers might get bonuses from the
Yeah, but that'll be from the
team,
team. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I
but
think
I
you're probably
don't think
right.
so that's proving the point that this is a team sport. This isn't a driver sport. It's not like golf where the golf player gets the winnings, the
Yeah,
individual,
they'll get paid by the
you know,
team, but the team get the money for the win.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, no, that's
So,
fair.
I think this is a very much a team sport, and I don't mind team orders, and I'm intrigued as to whether they get penalized for not following team orders by the team,
I
such as
guess
Norris, who got a second.
I think on something like that, they probably wouldn't. They probably wouldn't because that was a risk that they took that paid off. I think there's more of a suggestion at that point. I don't think. If it was this is a team instruction, do this now, and they didn't do it, then that's slightly different. But this is more like you
Yeah.
say. I haven't heard the radio, but it's more we're happy with
We're
this.
happy
Don't
with
don't
this, yeah.
don't risk it, and then he risks it and pays off. If he'd have risked it,
They
and then
they don't even say don't risk it. They just say we're happy with the order. We're
Yeah.
happy with the order.
But
That's all he really says.
if they'd have said that and then he risked it and then lost a position to George Russell coming up behind,
Yeah.
then he would probably get a pasting for that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get fined or anything, but it'd certainly look, was that really the wisest thing to do?
Yeah.
We've got to think of a championship here. I know you're trying to do a good thing, but it doesn't really matter, at
Yeah.
1 point. But to be honest, like when you look at what Norris has done for Piastri this year and what Piastri's done for Norris, Piastri hasn't done an awful lot for Norris this year. All he's, he inconvenienced him quite heavily in Monza. I do think that Norris could have potentially beaten him in Hungary, but because of the way things panned out, that opportunity was taken away from him.
Yeah.
And then all he's done is move over from him in one sprint, which Norris has then reciprocated the favour back. So
Yeah.
I think Piastri can have absolutely zero complaints with how McLaren have bent over backwards to keep him happy this year. And
I don't think he has any complaints though.
I don't
Actually
think he should
the McLaren camp seems quite a happy camp.
Yeah, I think they will be,
Am I-
especially now with this from Norris. I think that's a very much a this is not going to cost me an awful lot,
Yeah.
but it's gonna push the team like in a much stronger direction. I think
Yeah.
I have the measure of Piastri, so I need to have him on side to help me next year.
Yeah.
So
I think it's worth the deal to do that, I don't think it's worth the stress of that at all. So yeah, I mean, fair play, and I sort of agree with it. I've just seen Aaron's comment, and I think we'll come on to that.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about Perez now if you want. Should we move on to that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
My favorite subject.
Well, you wait until I see the prick that's behind me. Get to the point with the prick behind me. Actually, I quite like him at the moment, so I can't really moan. Go on then. You start on personal pet hatred, and I'll start on mine later.
I'm actually really gutted if he gets the sack because I want this gravy train to keep rolling, but it's but if he gets the sack,
it's only a win-win for you, isn't it?
Exactly. Like if he stays in Formula One and stays with Red Bull, then I get to continue bashing him, and Red Bull continue to throw away results. It's great. That's what I want.
Yeah,
but no. So Perez
was it his fault this time? Bearing in mind he did okay and I say okay in the sprint race. Didn't he?
No.
Am I thinking
he got passed by Franco Colapinto in the pit lane. In the pit lane. He got passed by Franco Colapinto at the start in the pit lane.
Absolute bullshit.
He forgot to move or couldn't engage a gear or something. That was just an extended test session.
Do you know what? I can imagine Colapinto being behind him in his Mercedes, bearing in mind he is Mercedes Williams, beeping his horn almost. Yeah. If he had a horn, he'd be like, "Fucking move!"
Yep.
To be honest, right. So why have they not sacked Perez yet?
I think they are now. The rumors coming out, and there's more than rumors because there's some very big outlets are reporting it, like the Race and Autosport, and BBC have quoted the Race and Autosport saying that because they haven't got their own sources themselves, that people from within Red Bull are saying that Perez his last race will be Abu Dhabi, and then they're going to part with him. But the problem they've got,
are they parting with him as Red Bull? Are they parting with it as part of the Red Bull race team?
So all of the Red Bull drivers, apart from Verstappen, and it might actually be Perez as well because of like the partners that he brings to the team. I don't think they would accept the normal Red Bull contract. But normally
you drive for Red Bull.
You drive for Red Bull, whether that is the main team or the junior team, so
or
they can just
DTM or anything else.
Yeah. So we place you where we want. Now, I know that's not the case with Verstappen. I don't think that the partners that Perez brings to the team commercially would allow Perez to be removed from that team. So I reckon that is just a Red Bull situation.
And the question that was on yesterday's podcast, please don't go and watch yesterday's. Is it even out? I don't even know if it's out.
It normally comes out Wednesdays. So that's why I said. That's why I said to you. Oh, we're doing a podcast. Carl was on Grid Talk yesterday. We recorded yesterday, and it was we're doing a podcast tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be yesterday by the time they hear this.
Oh, I'm so confused. I didn't even realize that. I never listened to that. I always only listen to the reviews. I never listen to the previews. So the irony being, I end up on more previews than reviews because of time and work allowances. But one thing that have you just pressed record button?
No.
All right, it's just popped up. This meeting is being recorded.
Oh no, I pressed it ages ago, just before we started.
Well done for remembering that. Where was I? The one thing that they said yesterday or tomorrow, by the time you listen to that,
my head
on the podcast, was that why hasn't he been sacked yet? It's and they don't think he's going to be sacked.
Yes, Mikhail said that, didn't he?
Yeah, Mikhail said that, and my thought is the reason he hasn't, and that he will stay because he hasn't been sacked. Why wouldn't they keep him? I think there is a clause that unless he completes all races, that they don't get their winning money. Or non-winning money, if that makes sense. There's this rumor, and I don't know how truthful that rumor is of the money from.
My thoughts on it. There's a lot of layers to this. Now, the reason we're talking about this now is because I just put in the chat that Red Bull personnel are apparently missing out on bonuses linked to constructors' performance due to Perez underperformance.
Well, there's this because they probably have a performance of being 1-2 and they're currently third.
So my point on this, right, and it's quite a long one, so bear with me. There's a lot of facets. There's a lot of things that need to be thought about. You've got Perez's underperformance, but you've got his partners like Carlos Slim, Telmex, Kit Kat, whatever, all these different brands that are involved.
Kit Kat's a really random one, isn't it?
All these groups that are involved with Sergio Perez bring more money to Red Bull than what they lose in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
They signed him back in May, I think it was. They signed him up to a 2-year deal, which it started straight away, but it's a 2-year extension to the 6 months remaining on his contract.
Yeah.
So the money they lose from him not being in the Constructors' Championship, they gain back commercially. Now,
so
obviously,
whatever the gap is between third and first.
Yeah, they will get that back. Obviously, and then as a result, they also get more wind tunnel by being third.
Yeah.
More wind tunnel time and CFD time by being
that was
third.
my conspiracy theory from a long time
I still
ago.
don't. But the thing is, at the bottom line, these teams are competitors.
Yeah.
They're there to win. So by not winning, they miss. It's immeasurable what they lose in other like marketing and things as well by not being champions and not being competitive.
Yeah.
But you've also got this 2-year contract. If they were to then sack him, have they then got to pay out the entire 2-year contract on that? And then you've also got breach of contract from all the partners involved as a result of that.
Yeah.
So
it's an expensive thing to get rid of.
Another thing you've also got to factor in, Red Bull are not paying all these bonuses to their teams. Yeah. So that's more money saved.
Yeah.
So by keeping Perez, they can save a huge amount of money. And also, probably make...
I think that's probably the reason as to why he hasn't.
I think that's why he's still there. But the fact that they've now dropped to third and they cannot win the Constructors' Championship, they are out of the fight. That may well be some kind of break clause in his contract where they can now say, no, we've lost the Constructors' Championship. You are out.
I wonder if this is a downward spiral for Red Bull. Much in the days of Williams, much in the days of...
I thought that 3 months ago, but they've just won 2 races on the bounce.
Or one driver has won 2 races.
Or they've won 2 out of the last 3 races and they've looked quick again. You know, so it's like they've fixed whatever the problem was with the car and now they're building for next year. So I think what we're going to see next year is 4 teams fighting for wins.
The team that built it, they're building this car for next year is a very different team that built this car.
But I think we're going to have the thing is Max Verstappen is the best driver in Formula One right now. That's you can't.
I think I can't deny that.
But it depends. I don't think there's anybody that Red Bull can bring in to replace Perez who is going to be any kind of threat to Verstappen initially. Certainly in that first year. Maybe if they bring the right person in a couple of years. Once they've entrenched in the team and they've got better, they might be able to. But next year, there's going to be no competition for Max Verstappen within the team.
Yeah.
Every other team that's going to be in race-winning contention is going to have a strong lineup. Maybe Ferrari not if Hamilton continues on.
Sorry, Ferrari not because of Hamilton and Mercedes not because of Anatoly.
Anatoly. All right, Chess. Yeah, we've got Frederick Trumper in the other Mercedes. Yeah. Okay, anyone who doesn't listen to music is not going to get any of that. But no, they are. They're going to have people. What?
I'm trying to think of the line where Frederick storms out. Anyway, of the meeting.
Oh yes, I can't remember it off the top of my head at the moment.
I always remember that. That bit. Anyway, go on.
That's bugging me now.
Antonelli, sorry.
Yeah, Antonelli will win races next year. I've said this.
No, bullshit.
Yeah, he will.
Bullshit.
I mean, Piastri's won races. Piastri's won races this year, so I reckon Antonelli will next year.
Bullshit.
He will not win as many.
He will be
as
no more
Russell.
better than Colapinto. So
yeah, Colapinto.
I'm going to bet that he's getting 8th or something.
Yeah, I think the bet was he will. I said he would finish P7 or higher in the championship.
Yeah. Good luck. Colapinto would look like a laughing stock, and yeah.
Has anyone else got great Schadenfreude for Colapinto? Colapinto. So Colapinto came in that first race and
what
did amazing.
What did you call it?
Schadenfreude.
What's Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude. Taking pleasure in people's discomfort.
Is that? Hang on, that doesn't sound right.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know. I know what it is, what you're trying to say, but I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation.
Yes.
Anyway,
it is.
Okay.
So yeah, like he came in that first race and did really well, and I was happy for him. Then he made an ill-advised.
He did okay. Let's not say he did well. He did okay.
Yeah, he made an ill-advised homophobic slur, which wasn't really, it wasn't anything meant by any.
But he still shouldn't have said it.
But
and
he said it.
Yeah.
So that instantly instantly got my back up about him. Okay, fine, but that might just be a cultural thing. And then since then, he's just crashed a lot. And I'm just like, it's like Nick de Vries. Everyone got such a hard on for Nick de Vries when he had that one great race in Monza. And I never rated Nick de Vries. I was just like, well, look, he's okay, fine. So he's proved himself to be a decent racing driver. He's won Formula E. But I never thought he was going to be a decent Formula One driver. But he gave himself a shot, and fair play to it. But it massively backfired. And I was just, everyone was saying how great he was. He's still the same driver he always was.
Where's Colapinto meant to be going?
Well, this is the thing. Everyone was saying about how he was Red Bull were trying to buy him out, but it was going to cost him 20 million to buy him out of Williams. And then apparently Alpine were trying to get Ocon to step aside early to put Doohan in the car so they could assess Doohan and then potentially replace Doohan with Colapinto because they thought that he was a better prospect.
Right.
So like a typical Flavio Briatore.
Yeah.
But everyone was just getting like just really excited about Colapinto. He's had a couple of good races.
I don't think Colapinto is the shit. Can you hear me? Because I'm hearing myself.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, that's fine. Colapinto is not the worst driver.
No, of course he's not. He's a massive step up from Logan Sargent.
Yeah.
And he definitely put Albon under a lot of pressure that he wasn't expecting to, and that's why Albon started making mistakes because he was suddenly under pressure from Colapinto.
Logan Sargent, the driver I want back.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I Colapinto's fine. I don't think he's Red Bull, but then I think he's a bit George Russellish in that way. Do you know what I mean? He probably will do better in a faster car, but he's not going to do great. And for a couple of years, exactly how, he was good in a Williams, but that doesn't mean he's going to be great in a Merc. And he sort of was okay for a while, and he's getting there. But I think Colapinto, I still think Colapinto's better than Antonelli. So,
I disagree.
I just don't get why everyone's got a horn on for him. I really don't. Like, yeah, great. He's not even
racing. I've seen him racing very well in Formula 2 this year as well. I know he hasn't won the championship, but he's been in a difficult car.
Oh, yeah. So he's going to be in another difficult car called a Merc next season, so that won't make much difference. I think that Merc will be difficult next year because I think they'll have probably another stupid idea. Now, actually, no, they'll be fine next year, be the year after, where they have another stupid idea and try and work out the rules. Or they'll play it safe. I just think that we're going to have to, agree to disagree on that one, on the Antonelli one, and Colapinto is grand. I get, like, I'm happy to hate him, but I don't dislike him, if that makes sense. I don't think he's I don't think he's a dick. I just think he's just not great. But I don't think he's definitely the worst person on that track at the moment. Talking about worst people on the track, Joe suddenly ends up 8th. How did that happen?
I don't know. It's good, wasn't it?
Where did that come out of?
I got happy with that.
I mean, he's going out on a high, literally going out on high. Because he's I don't know how he ended up there. I don't think he even knows how he ended up there. He was fortuitous by 4 or 5 cars leaving. Well, maybe
we had 5 cars retired, but he was ahead of 5 cars. So
has he paid his bribe to the FIA yet?
Yeah.
Because sorry, the person that runs over it and causes all the issue is his teammate Bottas, and then.
But he was already in the points, and so was Bottas. Bottas was pushing for points.
His Asian cohort.
Oh, okay. Is this about to get racist?
Alex Albon. Alex Albon is officially Asian.
He's guess he's Thai, isn't he?
Yeah, it was his wind mirror that flew away. It all seems to be lining up.
Yeah, but his wind mirror flew away because who was it who just barreled into him? Stroll just barreled into him on turn 1. That would have weakened it.
Okay. Although, did you see there was a Williams behind the scenes of them fixing the cars, both the cars from I don't know which race it was. It was maybe Singapore. Did they both smash it up in Singapore or Vegas? No, it was
Brazil, they
Singapore
both
'cause they had
smashed it up.
Brazil.
Brazil, they both
Brazil to
smashed
get
it
it back for Las Vegas, was it? I think.
up.
Um, did you see the video of
No.
Williams did a really cool video and a really interesting video, which you normally don't see, of okay, here's the car coming back in pieces, and let's see what we can salvage.
I heard about it. They were like going through the bin, weren't they? Trying to find bits.
They're trying to find bits and what we could fix and what they couldn't, and
Yeah, that's
and it was
cost gap
really
for you.
interesting. Yeah, it was really interesting to see that side of Williams. I have no idea what I was saying. Oh yeah, but I didn't realize they literally glued on the wind mirrors. That's what it is. It's just glued on, which I hadn't realized, or masticed on of some sort. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't surprised at the whole mirror. Let's get on to the FIA.
Yes.
I mean, they automatically get our Dick of the Week award.
Yeah, it's not even. Hang on. Wait, hold on.
Who's our dick of the day?
The FIA, 100%.
FIA.
Yeah.
And we'll ignore this behind because I don't know if that was dick moves. I just think that was just twat moves.
Sorry.
What were they doing?
I'm gonna stick a pin in that because I've got a point to make on that. But yeah, so that remind me, I've got to talk about those two dicks above us.
These two dicks above us.
Yeah, yeah. For those audio listeners, we have Verstappen and Russell arguing.
Yeah, we don't actually have a pair of willies above us.
No,
Although
or on our foreheads. Anyway, yes. Sorry, FIA.
Go on.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, that. So, like, the whole wing mirror situation. That is an instant safety car, or virtual safety car if they can get someone on track and there's a big enough gap. Now they're saying that they weren't able to do that. Apparently, I haven't read the statement, but apparently they put out a statement that says they didn't
Actually, I heard some of it.
They didn't want to interfere in the race. Now I'm sorry, but that's what caused Abu Dhabi 21.
Yeah.
And all the controversy that's happened around that. The race director trying to not interfere in the race and trying to have the race finish under green, no matter what that did to screw up everyone else's race. You have to do the thing that is correct, regardless of the situation that ensues. As soon as you start looking at the race,
like they're trying to say that it was affecting the race. Which race was it affecting at that point? Because everyone was. It was
nearing the pit windows. But so what?
Fucking what?
So
if it was near the pit windows, they'd all. If you hit a safety car, they'd all come into the pits. It literally makes no difference.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of a pit window. They all come into the pits.
Yeah.
Safety car, they all come into the pits.
Yeah. So.
And they've all got to drive through the pits anyway. So fuck it, makes no difference.
The problem is, like, they do this in IndyCar sometimes because in IndyCar it's slightly different, and the way things pan out. If you have a safety car, sorry, pace car. Is it a pace? No, it's not the pace car. It is the safety car, I think, because the pace car is just what starts the race, I think. But it might be a pace car. Anyway, I can't remember. But in IndyCar, anyway, they have the Indy equivalent of the safety car.
Yeah.
When that comes out, or just a full course caution. If a full course caution comes out, it's like the equivalent of a VSC.
Yeah.
It's detrimental to those that have not yet pitted.
Yeah.
So what they do is when someone gets stopped on track, they leave it for a lap or two so that drivers that are yet to make their pit can make their pit.
Yeah.
And then they pull the full course caution. And it's like, so you're leaving a dangerous position out on track for people to drive past it at full speed, just so you can not affect the outcome of the race.
Their answer was to why didn't you just throw a VSC was because there was cars all over the track.
Well, what they said was that they said the VSC. They said the VSC wouldn't have created the gap.
If this was near the pit window, a VSC. Everyone would be piling into the pits anyway, which would bunch them up automatically.
But
so
equally as well,
you could have had a gap.
Yeah.
But if that didn't work, at least you put the VSC out. If that didn't work and you couldn't find a gap to throw out a marshal, then you put out the safety car.
100%.
I agree with
straight away. You neutralize the threat.
I agree with not putting out safety car straight away because it could have been done under VSC. If it was a VSC,
if there's a big enough gap, it could have been done.
Yeah.
So you put the VSC out, and then that neutralizes the race. That takes away the threat. Yeah. And then if it means that VSC has to be out for 2 or 3 laps, and then they pull a safety car, then that's what has to happen. But if it means that the gap does open up big enough to allow a marshal to come on and grab it, great. If it doesn't, then you pull the safety car, and then you go remove it. Yeah. But they tried to say it wasn't in a dangerous position. I'm sorry, but Valtteri Bottas destroyed it. And then ended up ruining what they still don't know for certain if Sainz's race was caused by Sainz's punch was caused by the
what was interesting was where they were hitting that tire, and I couldn't understand. I know it disintegrated it and things flew in various different directions, but it was both the left-hand tire, front left, which is very strange when. Bearing in mind it was exploded out and it was definitely on the right hand side of the track. I can't understand why it was the left hand side tire.
Well, because it hit the front. So there's 2 reasons for that. Firstly, Bottas hit it head on, so it went in all directions, so it spread across the track in all directions. So, and also the way the track has got lots of long right hand corners, that means that the left front gets a lot of punishment. And as the tires were getting worn down, they have what they called negative degradation in this race. So what was happening was, although the tires were wearing out, because the track was the track was improving so much with the rubber that was being laid down, the fact that the tires were being worn down, it actually wasn't slowing the tires down. The tires were getting quicker and quicker, but also wearing out. So what would happen is they would keep getting quicker and quicker, and then it would hit a cliff where they got no tread left, and then they just go off a cliff. What we're doing is, because we were close to the pit window, those mediums were really close to the point where they weren't at the cliff, but the left front that takes the most punishment would have had the least tread on it. So if it runs over some carbon fiber, that's going to go through to the canvas. Whereas on the other tires, it would probably get embedded in the tire, sit there for 10, 15 laps or whatever, and gradually as the tires wore down, it works its way through and then causes a puncture. So you probably find that there was other cars that would potentially have got a puncture later on had there not been a safety car.
I didn't realize that, and I did wonder as to whether there's something else.
Welcome to Tech Talk with Tom.
There we go. No, I've learned something today. There we go. I didn't realize it was a negative deg tire, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's quite rare.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about these penises above our heads.
Do you not find this like the hypocrisy of this whole situation? Verstappen has come out really absolutely swinging, because he's saying
what? So from my understanding, let me try and work out what happened, because I literally don't know. So from my understanding, Max got a penalty for impeding Russell during a possible out lap, possible in lap, I wasn't sure, but a non-racing qualifying lap.
Yeah, so they were both
1 place grid penalty.
Yeah, I think they were both building for their fast lap, or Verstappen had just finished his fast lap. I think they were both building for their fast lap. And then Russell ended up going off track to avoid Verstappen, who was dawdling on the racing line. So what they've done is they've pinged Verstappen for failing to maintain the correct delta, which is what they have to do now. They can't go unnecessarily slowly, so they're known for going unnecessarily slowly and then also impeding. But because it wasn't impeding a lap, it impeded the preparation to a lap. They've used common sense, I suppose, and said, well, that normally comes with a 3-place grid drop. It was all going so well
at that point, wasn't it?
That normally comes with a 3-place grid drop. Because of it wasn't an actual qualifying lap that got ruined, we'll do a 1-place grid drop, which is within their rights to do, to be fair. That's in the regulations. There are some things that are set in stone. You have to give a penalty for this. Like, for example, speeding through yellow flags is a 10 seconds stop and go penalty. That's prescribed in regulations.
I get that's
You can't
prescribed in
change that.
regulations, but that is unnecessarily harsh.
We will come on to that. Don't worry.
Okay.
But yeah, no, but that situation is less prescribed. They can change. They can use common sense and they can use their own judgment to decide what they're going to do along that. Like we've seen 2 players grid drop before as well.
Okay.
I do feel that this was definitely a case of them saying, well, we'll just swap the positions over because that's fair. I'm not sure that is, because there's nothing to say that Russell would have put in a better lap had he not had that issue avoiding Max. And the hysterics behind it.
So what was Max getting all twitchy about?
Because George was in the stewards' room, apparently saying to the stewards in front of Max, because they were both called in there, just like not making stuff up, but being really over-egging the pudding and making it sound like he'd had to like save himself from dying or something because of the maneuver or whatever. Did
Max come out of that meeting covered in soot by any chance?
Yeah.
When he then starts bitching about someone else.
But he was saying that he lost a lot of respect for him because he was playing the ref effectively. But then
when's he not playing the ref?
Yeah, everyone does that in every race situation. Everyone does that.
In every sport, you play the ref.
Yeah,
I don't think there is a single sport or anything where you don't play the ref.
And that is exactly what he did in the race. Lando didn't back off. Checky backed off. If he didn't back off, that's a penalty. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
I still haven't had the chance to go through the onboards. I really want to do this, and I want to listen to the engine note of the other drivers on track to see if anyone else didn't lift, because because these two are. We saw this in 2021. The 2 drivers that are in the eye because of the current championship situation, they're the ones that get punished all the time, which is why you always see drivers at the front of the field that are in battles getting more penalty points than people at the back that are causing crashes left, right, and centre. Lance Stroll.
Because no one cares.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really get shown on and it's wrong. And this is where I do think like
so I've got a thought theory about this, but carry on.
So I think a certain amount of not AI as such, but a certain amount of automation does need to come in with this kind of thing. There's nothing to say that you can't have traces that when certain conditions are met, it automatically gets pinged and then it can then be analyzed. So that way you don't miss anything. It's not down to waiting until people report it.
I have another idea, and it's completely the opposite idea to you.
Go on.
Ban the race director, anyone that is a decision maker in the competitiveness of racing, ban them from having access to the team radios. There is no reason why they or anyone that isn't purely on safety, absolutely a safety person should listen to the radios, because a lot of the time the drivers are reporting, but there is no reason as to why we need to listen as a general public or as the competitive side need to listen to the team radios. And why Sky has a team radio person. Okay, it's Bernie and I love her to bits. But why on this race, why do we need to listen to that? No one needs to listen to that apart from safety. Obviously, they can have someone to listen in purely for legal matters in the sense of if something goes wrong, but not in competitive, because all that's doing at the moment is them bitching and whining about the other drivers. And it doesn't make it fair, and they are playing the refs in that.
They do. I think that I think the team radio does add a level of access to the driver and an insight into the drivers that. But I think that they
from a audience point of view,
yes,
from a fan point of view,
yes,
I get that. I think that, and I think there is normally long enough delay between them saying it and us hearing it.
And I think it's important that the sporting director needs to be able to have access to contact the stewards or the race director for the reasons you've said about safety reasons and stuff like that.
Absolutely, but that should be a separate person compared to the race director. That should be listening into all of their whinging and moaning.
Well, yeah, it's a direct channel, isn't it? You can just go straight through to the race director.
And
But
that's what I don't
potentially
agree
that should
with.
be potentially that should be a second person that then weans out the wheat from the chaff, so the race director can focus on the race and doing what's right.
Or racing, yeah, absolutely. Them whinging about each other, it's not helping.
I don't think that this is what I'm saying. I think a certain level of automation should be built into this. So for when we get onto the whole yellow flag situation as well, that kind of stuff can be automated so that when there's a yellow flag, you should be able to then automatically pick up throttle traces, and then people get pinged up if they don't back off. But the whole thing with Max,
I think it needs. I think genuinely needs both of these.
The whole thing, Max lifted and Lando didn't. I've now through another. Let me try and remember which source it was. I think it was the race I listened to, and they said about the difference in the throttle traces between Verstappen and Norris. The grand total of 2 kilometers per hour, Max Verstappen lifted off on the straight. He feathered the throttle out very slightly, just enough so that his GPS tracker would show that he did back off. But slow down and be prepared to stop is not 2 kilometers off your top speed.
To be fair,
when you're going
Max,
240 kilometers an hour.
To be fair on Max, there was no yellow flag light before the incident. There was only a double yellow physical flags, which you can barely see. And there has to be another way of doing it.
Yeah, but he's seen it and he's backed off. Now, this is not me blaming Max. I'm saying the problem is that I
tried to stop that. I'm sorry, guys.
It's fine. I remember this from way back in 1998 when they didn't have any GPS data, and there was yellow flags out in a qualifying lap, and Mika Hakkinen would go through 130R in Suzuka absolutely flat when there was a car in the gravel. But all he'd do is he just put one hand out the cockpit to say, "I'm acknowledging the fact that I've seen that yellow flag," and then the qualifying lap would stand. And that's just not right. Now, I'm a McLaren fan, so I didn't mind at the time, but that just can't happen. And this is exactly the same thing. It's slow down, be prepared to stop. It's not good enough to drop 2 kilometers on the straight.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I get that it's not that is the penalty for not slowing at the yellow flags. But it was the tiniest yellow flag that shouldn't have even been there at that point. It should have been a safety car. That shouldn't have been a problem. But I guess by saying it should have been a safety car shows that it's serious enough to warrant a double wave yellow. Yeah. So I know whereas I am kind of contradicting myself in there. But that should have been a penalty. But in all fairness, the entire grid should have got penalties because nobody backed off to a degree that was suitable for a serious
Is there a I wonder in the rules if there is a speed limit at double yellows.
I mean, that's what the VSC is there for, because the VSC came in to stop people.
So it makes double yellows completely pointless.
I mean, I think it should be automatic VSC when double yellows come out.
Yeah.
Yellow flag is fine because somebody off the racing line in a non-dangerous position, you're just letting them know that somebody's offline and in the gravel or whatever. But then as soon as double yellow comes out, it should be automatic VSC.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And if they're worried about it affecting races too much, then just do what Formula 2 do. You're not allowed to pit under VSC in Formula 2. Or you can, but it doesn't count as your mandatory pit stop. So if you do change tyres, then it doesn't count. You have to put on another set. So
I don't mind. The thing is, I like that gamble of let's all go into the pit. I don't think it's
I like it. I like it. But I'm just saying if they're worried about that, double wave yellow should be automatic VSC.
But why
automatic VSC?
Who's worrying about whether they all pit at the same fucking time? It makes it sometimes more interesting when they're all pitting and it's a mayhem. But it's safely done 95% of the time.
I think your wife's in the chat, by the way.
Oh, is she? I don't see her chat at all. All I can see is Owain's.
We've got Rainbow King.
Oh, where?
Just underneath Owain's chat.
I can't see any.
Oh, that's odd. Yeah. It says, harshest penalty ever. Feel so sorry for Lando. Verstappen wouldn't stop putting the pressure on. FIA messed up, but by not putting the safety car out. And why was stop go penalty and not a 10-second one? So I'll answer that. As I said, if I'm assuming that's you, Laura, unless it's Killian. Doubt it, because Killian doesn't like
Laura.
F1. I said before about certain things are prescriptive in the regulations, and ignoring a yellow flag is the harshest penalty
I'm
you
going to
can
have
give
to take a picture of this, sorry.
Yeah.
To prove a point, I can't see.
A 10-second stop and go penalty is the penalty that has to come in for a ignoring yellow flags. But the trouble is you can't change the rules in the middle of the race, but I think there should be room to change for common sense, basically, from the FIA. So they applied the rules in that situation to the letter, but I don't feel they were fair to everyone, because I think if you go down through there, realistically, yes, Verstappen technically backed off, but 2 kilometers in a straight, what's that going to do at 240 kilometers an hour? It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. So it's ouch on Lando, though. Yes, I agree, Laura.
I like that you can see Laura and I can't. That's hilarious. I can't see my own child, but you can.
Your own child?
Well, sorry, my own wife.
Yeah, I can see my own child right now. He's stirring. There he is. He's just rolling around in the cot.
There we go. So at the end of the day, I think Max was just being pot calling Cat Black. Russell was just being a whingy little moaner, and Norris should have lifted off, but then so should anyone else, to summarize.
Yeah, basically, yes. Right, we've already done Dick of the Day, which is the FIA. Should we do a Driver of the Day?
Hang on, I feel like there's someone else we need to talk about. We haven't actually talked about McLaren at all, really, but that's fine. I suppose they didn't really do much. Apart from
it's fine. They've got a 21-point lead going into the final race. So permutation wise, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, because I am, it looks like with a 21-point lead, so it's 44 points is the maximum you can get. So if Ferrari were to get first and second, McLaren just need to follow them home in third and fourth, and they'll win the Constructors' Championship by 4 points. Even if they took the fastest lap, they'd still win it by 3 points. So even if Ferrari do dominate the race, McLaren just need to come third and fourth, and then they will be okay. Third and fifth would be enough as well. Third and sixth would not be enough.
Yeah.
So third and fifth would be enough, even if Ferrari got the fastest lap. If they didn't get the fastest lap, then it would still be enough with third and sixth, because I think Ferrari have now got one more race win than McLaren. So if they were to win Abu Dhabi, I think they're equal at the moment.
Yeah.
So and Red Bull are out of it completely, 53 points off.
Hang on. So we say we're out of it. Is there no way if they become first and second that they can win? Or
the constructors?
They can't win the constructors, but they could get second.
They can get second, yeah. They're 20, was it? Hang on. They are 38 points off Ferrari.
Yeah, so they still have everything
available.
They still have everything to play for.
For second, but
for second, which you're saying but that's still a few more million in the bank account.
Yeah, but it's not what Red Bull are there for.
No, but they're not there for third either.
No. Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, 8 points between them for second place. 349 to 341. I'm sure Norris doesn't give a shit about second place, to be fair.
No.
The only other battles looking down there, Gasly has got a chance of getting a top 10 if he can overhaul Nico Hulkenberg. He's just 1 point behind Nico Hulkenberg.
That's who we didn't talk about, Haas.
Yeah, but Hulkenberg got a couple of points. Magnussen got a couple of points, keeps him in the fight. The Constructors' Championship, Alpine, 5 points ahead of Haas. RB at 8 points behind Haas. So that looks like they're not going to get 8 points at the weekend. Yeah. So the only real battle there then is probably between Haas and Alpine, as both cars do seem to be able to get into the points regularly at the moment. So I really hope Haas overhaul Alpine, because I don't think that team deserves sixth place.
No.
Aston Martin will finish fifth. Mercedes will finish fourth.
Yeah. That's almost
Sauber
nailed
will
on,
finish
isn't it?
last unless they can score. What do they need? 13 points to catch Williams. Williams need 29 points to catch RB. So that's not that's going to happen. Let's be honest.
No.
The only other thing is, it's 24 points from Hamilton to Russell. So Russell's going to beat Hamilton this year. And then it'll be quite interesting to work out the points in their 3 years as teammates. I have a feeling it's going to be Hamilton scored the most points over the 3 years they've been teammates, I think, because he beat Russell quite convincingly last year, whereas the year before it was quite close. So I think Hamilton's going to outscore over the 3 years, which would surprise some people. Perez is definitely going to finish 8th, so there's no fight there. Lance Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda just 6 points apart. That's not good. They're not going to score 6 points in the last race anyway. So I guess the only other fight really is, can Valtteri Bottas overtake Liam Lawson? He's 4 points off him with 0.
Yeah.
To Liam Lawson's 4. So Valtteri Bottas is currently 22nd in a 20 car season. And I guess if Esteban Ocon's replacement, Jack Doohan, which we haven't really spoken about either, Jack Doohan comes in and scores a point, he will pass Bottas and beat Bottas in one race.
That's fucking
done
hilarious.
every race.
Doohan, anyway, that whole thing is controversy and it's pointless, and I don't get it. And do I really care? No, because Ocon's shit. So good. Fine.
Yeah,
Do I care?
I'm giving Joe driver the day.
Yeah, I think the world gave Joe driver the day.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any.
He did so well to hold it off as well. Bottas must have been gutted when he's like, "Yes, I finally got 10th. Oh, that's a McLaren behind me."
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have been there anyway. So, yes. I've just seen Laura's just put something on there about Bottas is listed as a Red Bull driver on the Red Bull website.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was just I heard about that. I think that's a rogue employee having a laugh. Bottas isn't going to Red Bull.
I don't know. Hang on. Is he going as a what's his name driver though?
I think he's going to Mercedes
driver.
as a test driver. I very much doubt he'd go to Red Bull as a test driver when he's got the links with Mercedes. I very much doubt that.
Yeah, well, to be honest, he's got links with Ferrari. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't, you wouldn't have called him to go to Sauber from Mercedes.
Yeah, you probably would have done, because where else is he going to go?
Well, Williams or McLaren were open. No, McLaren wasn't at that point, but Williams was definitely open at that point.
Yeah, he had a choice between Sauber and Williams. That was his choice, but he'd already been at Williams, so he wanted to do something different.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if that happens. I hadn't heard that. This is the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, it was on the Grid Talk Slack earlier today.
I haven't been looking at that. Yeah. So that would be, it would be interesting if that was real.
But to be honest, I think that would be the ideal, because who was the better number 2 driver in the fights between Red Bull and Mercedes? Bottas was better than Perez.
Yeah.
So I just don't think they would do that. I just don't think they would. That would optics for the
brand. It feels a bit like that just feels like
it's just another Perez. It's another stopgap.
It's not Perez. It's another what's his name? Daniel
Ricciardo. Yeah, it's just another stopgap and another
It was like an old timer just filling.
I would much rather they put Lawson, Tsunoda, or Hadjar in that car. Just to be honest, Hadjar.
I don't want Hadjar.
Hadjar in F2, the last couple of races, the 2 races this weekend actually really impressed me. I mean, he did make one stupid error, which cost him some points, but the finale of F2 is going to be awesome. Only half a point between first and second, between Bortoleto and Hadjar. Bortoleto's got his F1 drive now, so that's sorted. Hadjar, he's racing for Sauber next year.
Sauber, isn't he?
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see. Abby Pulling won the F1 Academy, and I haven't watched the F3 races yet.
But
F3 finished, didn't it? So
Abby Pulling winning the F1 Academy. Like, where's she going to go now? IndyCar, like Jamie?
So
Like,
it's
I just feel like the academy just is
so
pointless.
the prize for winning F1 Academy is a fully funded GB3 seat, which is the next step up. So she's
GP3. So,
GB3. It's like
okay.
it's like British Formula 3 basically.
Okay. So, yeah. Here, you've
And then
traveled
from
the world.
there,
Hang on. So the prize is you go from traveling the world and racing on F1 tracks to racing on tracks no one ever watches and no one ever sees.
yeah, but it's GB3 is the step.
Wow.
GB3 is much faster machinery and it's a much bigger step up in if you win at GB3, then basically you're looking at you're looking at F3 drive, and then that's the next step towards Formula One. So yes, you are stepping away from the public eye, but you've just created a huge amount of publicity around yourself and getting this fully funded drive in
So what
GB3.
happens every year? You have to fight for your seat again. Do you know what I mean? It just
Well,
seems
yeah,
like,
that's the nature of the beast. You've got tens of thousands of people wanting to make it to those 20
yeah.
seats in Formula One. To do that, you have to go up a ladder. This is
But
the
like,
next rung in the ladder.
okay,
Yes,
yeah.
F1 Academy is much more visual than the others,
So
but
has Antonelli done that?
yeah, he's
Or
come through the
he
ranks. I mean, he
gone
didn't
through
come
the
through F1 Academy for obvious reasons because
yeah.
he's got the balls for it. So,
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like some of these, like GP3,
no, this is why
is not
this
a
is
prize.
well, it's a fully funded
If
seat. It's
if it was a fully
expensive.
funded seat in F3, I can understand.
Yeah, I think potentially like longer term that might be something on the cards. But the thing is with F1 Academy, it's nice and cheap at the moment,
Yeah.
and they need to keep it that way to keep it accessible.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the fact that it's following F1 circus around as well. I was never.
Sorry,
I
I'm not
wasn't.
against. Sorry,
Yeah,
do
I'm
not
not
get me
either.
wrong. I'm not against F1 Academy. I'm against the prize of that drive. I just feel
I
that's
just
not a
think that
prize.
if you go from F1 Academy straight to F3, it's too big a jump. It's like going from F3 to F1, which is a
But hang on,
huge jump.
the people that a lot of these people that are doing this jump, like Antonelli's what, 17? When was he in
He's 18 now.
GP3? 18. When was he in GP3?
He was in
Or whatever his
European. He
version
was
is.
in he was
European
in.
F4 or whatever it's called.
So he was in. I can't remember what he was in before, but he jumped F3 and went straight to F2 because
Right,
of
so, sorry, so he can go from
So
nothing to F2.
no,
You're
he didn't go from
adding-
nothing to F2. He did lots of other stuff. I'm not going to pull up his entire racing history, but he's been
This is-
performing at a
yeah.
very high level as a world-beating talent for huge promising talent
Yeah.
for the last 3 or 4 years since karting. So to then
But
go
how long
straight
has
to
Abby Pulling
F2.
been around? She's been around 2 or 3 years. Do you know what I mean? And
Oh,
she's
yeah,
only
yeah.
she's only getting. I just feel like that's not a prize, and it's almost like, yeah, screw you, off to GP3. We can ignore you again. Do you
No,
know?
I think
That's what
it
feels
is
like.
it is from
I'm
a
not
technical
gonna
perspective, it's the next step up, and it is another step on the ladder.
But you're
But
going to be another
if you
4 years a minimum
No,
to
you
get to F1.
No, so generally the way, because she's funded by Alpine as well, it will be you go into there, and if you don't win it I would say in the second year, that's it. Basically,
Yeah.
your
Okay.
career's
So
done.
she wins it. She wins it in the
Yeah.
first year. She ends
Yeah.
in F3. She wins that in that first year. She
Yeah.
ends up in F2.
Yeah,
She wins that.
Yeah.
She in theory could end up in F1. That
Yeah.
is 4 years.
Yeah.
That is a long time
yeah.
in their age. And she's not the springiest of chickens, as in she's not 17.
No, she's like 19.
Is she? I thought
She's
she was
quite
like
young. She might be
22,
20. She
I
might be
thought she
20
was
or
22, 23. Okay, sorry, I do take that back then.
Okay, let me find out. Okay, let's
I
find
might
out.
be very wrong. But I just
She's
feel
very
like,
young still,
okay,
but
okay.
equally okay. She's 20. Okay, she's 21. But
Okay,
still,
so she's minimum 25 to get in there.
yeah.
Why is that? Like, I just don't feel
That's
like.
not old. That's not too old. That's just how long it takes to get there. Sometimes, so sometimes,
And that's you winning every single race. And I feel like, every single championship in 1 year. That's a lot of.
that's just what it takes to get through these levels. If
Yeah.
Jamie Chadwick's 25, 26.
But then you have Antonelli turning up at 18. It's like,
Because he's shown that he's shown the talent and he's had the opportunity and he had the backing. So he's with those three things: talent, opportunity,
I
and
think
backing.
he's had more the backing than the talent. But yeah, because
Well, that's what you say. But he's obviously
I don't
shown.
think Abby. I think Abby
Anyway,
had it. But
I
like
need to go.
Jamie
We've been
Chadwick
arguing
as well.
about this for about 10 minutes now. I'm gonna.
Like Jamie Chadwick
This
ends
is a
up
separate-
in IndyCar, whatever. Indy
Well, she's
next
currently
is
in
like-
Indy next, and hopefully get an IndyCar drive. But we're not going to get into any of that now. So
Jesus
let's
Christ.
end the
We
podcast
haven't had
now.
a debate about W or female series or any of those junior series in ages. I was
No,
enjoying
because
that.
you don't normally watch them. That's why.
I don't normally watch them, but I still have an opinion on them.
Oh my god, Abby Pulling was born in 2003. That depresses me. Right, okay.
Old man.
Let's shut this down. Hopefully, we'll be back after Abu Dhabi for a race review and maybe a season review. We've been promising that for about 4 years, and we never do it. But
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, my life's about to get hectic, and yeah, I'm sure yours
yeah,
is too. but
my life
we'll
is
see.
constantly hectic now. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Cool.
Babies. Right.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Sorry, that was a long one.
See you later,
I
everyone.
still feel like we haven't said anything.
Not really. Oh yeah, Max Verstappen won, by the way. Bye.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Still a fucking downgrade, mate. You